This year marks the 30th anniversary of Mike Tyson's debut as a professional boxer. The American brought an exciting and ferocious style of fighting to the sport in the 1980s. In 1986, a 20-year-old Tyson became the youngest heavyweight world champion in history by defeating WBC title holder Trevor Berbick. The Tyson era had begun, and Iron Mike would go on to destroy all comers over the next few years.
Hide your feelings. Nothing's emotional, everything's just objective. Regardless of how you feel, the job needs to be done. No, regardless if it's fear involved, the fear mustn't be shown. It's the opposite is shown, fierceness instead of fear. Your fear is your fierceness. That's pretty much what it was. You could tell I was afraid because of how ferocious I was. And he taught me to handle the fear and to make it my friend, make it alliance, make alliance with your fear.
As a boy, Tyson was a violent, gun-wielding street criminal arrested on countless occasions for robberies and muggings. It was whilst in a juvenile center for delinquents in upstate New York that the 13-year-old's rage was channeled into boxing. His first coach, Bobby Stewart, was instantly impressed and introduced him to the legendary fight trainer, Cus D'Amato.
I started improving. I started getting better, and he said, I don't want you to go home. I want you to come and meet this gentleman, Cus D'Amato, because I believe he could take you to the next level of boxing. And after that, I didn't know if I wanted to do it. I met Cus. Cus, you know, he first day he saw me box, he pumped my head over that I could be the greatest. I might have a lot of money, and he put all these bizarre dreams in my head that I knew nothing about. I started on weekends going to visit Cus, down to training, sparring, getting to know them, getting familiar with the environment of fighting. And then when my parole day came, I was paroled to Cus, to the care of Cus D'Amato. And after that, we just was on a journey to become heavyweight champion. I was 13.
Sadly, a year prior to Tyson becoming world champ, Cus died. Mike dedicated his triumph over Trevor Berbick to his former legal guardian. He unified the heavyweight titles in 1987. 80s Tyson was technically perfect, bobbing and weaving, elusive, capable of fighting inside and from the perimeter, always throwing combinations, always working the body, always maintaining a primal level of intensity and aura of menace.
That's all I wanted to do was hurt people, be champion. Fans had about breaking their ribs, knocking them out. I would read about how somebody broke somebody's jaw. We want to break their jaws, and that's what I knew in my mind, and for my mentor, every time I hurt somebody, it was a step of me out of poverty. Everybody I knock out, everybody I broke their cheekbone or their eye socket or their ribs, wow, it's just, I get out of hell.
Tyson was huge box office in his prime, and he amassed a fortune of $300 million, which he'd go on to squander and lose. An international star, he became the most talked about heavyweight boxer since the great Muhammad Ali.
Once I got involved with boxing and started reading a book, and I saw in the encyclopedia they show pictures of some of the fighters in some of the books, and I saw their muscles, and I saw their arrogant smile with their belts on, and I just I wanted to be in that fraternity somewhere. I used to want to. Cus would tell me great, real dynamic, outrageous stories about these guys fighting 35 times in 1 year, being active, fighting 50 rounds. The next week he fought 25 rounds, and they were like supermen to me. And I don't know, I wanted one day somebody to look up to me like I looked up to those guys, you know, because I thought they were gods.
Despite Tyson's success in the ring during the late 80s, outside of it, his life was in chaos. His ill-fated marriage to Robin Givens ended acrimoniously. He drove a car into a tree in an apparent suicide bid and got into street fights with former opponents. He split with the management team of Bill Caton and Jimmy Jacobs, which Cus D'Amato had set up, and joined Don King.
Mike Tyson was on his way to becoming a truly great fighter. and I thought could continue to improve and perhaps be a true competitor for the title of greatest fighter of all time. But he left Kevin Rooney, he left me, he left Steve Lott, and went over to a man named Don King, who got his tentacles into him, or hooks, whichever word you want to use. And from that point on, he deteriorated noticeably.
Very shortly after I won the title, you know, I realized that you know, no one really cared about me. They didn't have Cus really there. I just wanted to win it for Cus, really, you know. I never had a father figure, so Cus, that was a big thing for Cus. I wanted to win it for him. He was really kind to me and helped me a lot.
In 1990, Tyson was sensationally beaten by the 42-1 outsider, James Buster Douglas. Having lost his title, he then lost his freedom. In 1992, he was convicted of rape and spent over 3 years in jail. With Don King in his corner, Tyson returned to the ring and regained the WBC and WBA titles against mediocre opponents. Initially, Tyson appeared to show little difference as a fighter, and certainly his experience in prison did little to change Tyson, the man.
I don't believe in rehab. I don't believe in rehabilitation. I believe some people are smarter than others, and they watch their ass the next time they get out of trouble. There's no such thing as rehabilitation. I didn't like that experience, so I'm not going to go that route anymore to get in trouble no more. But you know, I'm still capable of doing the same thing, they say.
Mike's first bout after getting out of jail was against the overmatched Peter McNeely in August 1995. He disposed of McNeely in 89 seconds, much to the derision of the crowd, who were hoping to see a competitive bout. Bad habits soon crept into Tyson's training routine and led to a visible deterioration in his abilities. In 1997, Tyson was at the center of one of the most scandalous moments in sporting history. In a WBA title fight, he bit opponent Evander Holyfield's ear not once, but twice, leading to his disqualification, a $3 million fine, and an 18-month ring absence. His career finally came to an end after a defeat to Irish journeyman Kevin McBride in 2005. Having beaten 3 world champions to unify the division in the 80s, Tyson believes that today's boxers have a far easier time of it.
That's what's wrong with fighting now. That's why boxing is such the doldrums right now, because you know who's going to win the fight before the fight even starts, you know? And the boxers are not evenly matched. And if they don't want to fight guys who they believe are going to help them push themselves, that shows they don't have much confidence in their ability.
In 2011, Tyson was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, which is situated in Canastota, upstate New York. Iron Mike has taken pride of place amongst his heroes: Roberto Duran, Sonny Liston, Joe Louis, and Muhammad Ali.
Roberto Duran, Henry Armstrong, Joe Louis. Man, Sugar Ray Robinson was such an amazing guy. And Muhammad Ali, you know, some of these guys, I always wanted to be one of those guys. I don't think I am. I like to think I am for my ego. But there's some guys you have to kill them to beat them. You know, I don't understand that concept. You know, even to this day, I thought, they got family, you got to kill them to beat them. They're not going to give up. You got to beat them to death.
Despite the excitement and ferocious style of fighting that Iron Mike brought to the sport in the 1980s, his place in heavyweight history has been severely tarnished by his indefensible acts both in and out of the ring. His legacy is built on a brief but glorious past, superb hype, and a willingness to be the baddest man on the planet.
Man, listen, right? I'm a street person. I don't even want to be a street person. I don't even like typical street people, but that's just who I became and what happened in my life and the tragedies in life that made me that way. But, you know, I'm Mike. You know, I'm not malevolent or anything. I just am. And I just want to just live my life. And I know your guys talk bad about me, but I'm going to make sure you talk about me. And your grandkids and kids after that are going to know about me. They're never going to forget about me. the great-grandkids will go say, wow, wasn't that a bizarre individual?
Tyson spoke to Transworld Sport in Los Angeles, where he was busy promoting a new documentary film called Champs, which features himself, Evander Holyfield and Bernard Hopkins. Mike's star power hasn't diminished over the years, with throngs of people still clamoring for a piece of him wherever he goes. Now 48, Mike Tyson cuts a more serene figure these days. He's involved in numerous projects and seems to have found the inner peace that was missing during his turbulent career as a professional boxer.
I'm a thespian, I'm a semi-actor, kind of like, and things are just going really good for me, and I'm not complaining. You know, I have things I can complain about, but it's just the delusions. It's not real. Sky's the limit. As long as I hold myself in proper esteem, sky's the limit.
Subscribe now to our YouTube channel for the very best of Transworld Sports.